Hey guys, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, coming to you with another live feed, and just wanted to welcome all of our new members. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. We are really happy that you are here. We are doing something here that really nobody else on the planet is doing, is we're just ending our eating disorders. We're not like managing them or, like hoping that we'll be able to, just control our environment enough to get through our lives because, once we're eating disordered, then that's who we are in our identity. Like we're literally just like leaving them behind and moving on with our lives and not having to have eating disorders anymore. And that's revolutionary, but you're part of a revolutionary thing. So welcome and so happy that you're here. And my name is Lydia. I am your host here. I'm the one who founded the group, and I am a lifestyle coach that helps people to just be completely done with their eating disorders. So whether that's any sort of food crazies, welcome you guys. So happy that you are on. Feel free to, make any sort of comments or ask questions or anything like that as we go along. Share your experiences. We all make this what it is. So, anyone who is just suffering from overeating, food obsession, binge eating, bulimia, all those sorts of things are things that we just get done here, like just done and over with. And even if that just sounds like so crazy and unbelievable, and you may have never even heard that before, just know that it is absolutely possible. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, because I realize that some of you don't know me as well as others, and my experience, I was bulimic for years and years, and just wanted to share my story, maybe a perspective that you haven't heard, just today with some more details of really my experience of how I got an eating disorder, how I really experienced that, and how I ended my eating disorder as well. So thank you guys for being a part of this, and welcome to our Wednesday live feeds. We do this pretty much every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. If you guys want to tune in, you can also, say what topics you would like to see, and then we can talk about those as well. We just did a series on debunking diets because so many people struggle with the relationship between like, okay, well, but what about losing weight, or what about health, or, how on earth am I going to give up dieting because then, my weight will just go crazy, or all those sorts of thoughts that actually hold us back from ending the very thing that's hurting our health the most, which is the binge eating. So we did a series on that. And then today I just wanted to share a little bit, introduce myself, and then, talk about my story, and just, put it out there to just be real and open. And if you guys have questions for me, you can totally ask those as well. Like if you have questions about my own personal experience of overcoming an eating disorder, then yeah, would love to hear that as well. So welcome. And really just this started out in my own life as I never thought that I could lose weight. Like that was just like, oh, like I just can't. Like it seemed like I would change some things, but nothing would really happen. But then after I had a child, I felt like it was an emergency. Like I was, the highest weight that I'd ever been, and I was really worried about that. So I decided to go on a diet, like a legit restrict my calories, track everything sort of diet. And realize I'm speaking from my perspective back then. So it's like I have obviously learned so much since then. But I mean, back then, like I was so excited about it, and it totally worked, you guys. And it felt amazing. I was thinner than I had ever been since I was a kid. And this is a body positive anti-diet group. So I'm just letting you know, like, where I came from, okay? Like, that perspective back then was very, very different. So I loved it. I loved being thin. I loved the way it felt. I love how people treated me. And I felt really, like, healthy. Like, I felt, like, good. But it also didn't seem like enough. So I wanted to be like fitter and leaner and like healthier. So I kept going and I kept doing more, sort of in this pursuit. Like I really became obsessed with like the pursuit of like, stronger, faster, better, and just like really controlling and making my body into what I wanted it to be. And why wouldn't that be possible? Like if anyone could do it, like I was willing to do the work, right? Like I had this mentality of like, yeah, I can absolutely do this. I had no idea what the side effects were. I had no idea how detrimental it would be. I had no idea how linked dieting was to eating disorders. No one had ever told me. So here, I'm telling you now, like now but I had no idea back then. So the first thing that I started experiencing was I started getting hungry. Like really hungry, like hunger that I hadn't really experienced before, like so hungry that I didn't know that I could ever be full. Like it just felt like I could just eat forever. And I started caring a lot about food. So I started thinking about food a lot. I started really caring about what food I was eating. I started getting really emotional about food. Like it started becoming very important to me, and I would get like just anxiety about it. I was feeling a lot of anxiety if I felt like I ate too much, or if I felt like I ate the wrong foods. Like food just became a really big deal in my life. And when I felt like I, kind of committed food sins, right, then I would make up for it the next day. So it's like, I would try to be even more diligent in the way that I was eating or my working out the next day. So I tried to sort of make up for it, and thus started the cycle. So another weird thing happened. If I ate anything, I would gain weight. I had no idea what this process was doing to my metabolism. This was all still a total mystery to me back then. So we're talking about like an apple, and I would weigh myself every single day. And if I would eat anything, like a piece of fruit, I would gain weight. And it was really freaking me out. And I did not know what was happening. I had no idea. And then I had my first binge. And it was so good, you guys. It was so amazing after so long to just let myself eat. And I ate, and I ate, and I ate until I was in physical pain. And it was all the wrong foods. It started out as like fine. Like it started out as like another helping of dinner, and then we'll all just have a little snack, and then I don't quite feel satisfied, so I'll go back and have some more, and nuts aren't bad. And then it was like, oh wow, well this stuff really is bad, and this is wrong, and I shouldn't have this, and I've totally blown it, but I've already blown it, so I might as well just, have some more because I have to, make up for this tomorrow. I was making myself promises and plans and calculating, how many calories I needed to burn, and how was I going to do this, but I just kept going until I was physically in pain. I was terrified. I was so terrified. And I never felt full. That whole binge, you guys, I never once felt full. The only way that I knew that I couldn't eat anymore is because I was physically unable to eat anymore. Like I had stuffed my body so full of food that I physically couldn't, but I still felt unsatisfied. I just felt angry that I couldn't eat more, because I was just so hungry. And I honestly started to question who I was. Like, who am I if I act like this when I don't keep myself in check? Like, if I'm not under really strict rules, this is what I do? Like, am I just this really unhealthy person? Am I just like super messed up? Am I insane? Like, I really started questioning who I was. And I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't this monster that I was worried that I was. So I got even more extreme the next day with my diet. And I went back into like the fat burning phase, right? It's like, okay, like this is a new start, and I'm going to get done with this, and I'm going to get over it. And that's what I would do. And it got harder and harder. So at first I could stick with my diet for like a few weeks, and then like a couple weeks. And it still felt like I was under control. Like I was doing it. Like it's really weird. And I binge every once in a while, and I have these slip ups, and I don't know what that's about, but I just sort of ignored it because it was like so counter to who I was and what I cared about that it just really didn't feel real. So I just sort of ignored it. But then I couldn't even go for more than a couple of days sticking to my diet before I'd binge again. And then I would find myself binging even when I was just thinking of getting back to it, like getting back strict with my diet. And I was really, really scared. I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know where this was leading. And really, no one knew. Like, I was actually, at the time, I was a health coach and had a successful business as a health coach specializing in helping people lose weight. That's where I was at, you guys. Like, that's my origin story. And that's where I was when I was going crazy. And I didn't know for years that I had an eating disorder. Like, I just thought I was insane, like my own brand of crazy, because I knew that normal people didn't eat like this. So I must have just been crazy, right? Because I was eating like this. So I had never heard of binge eating disorder. I didn't know what that was. And I didn't know that bulimia could be without vomiting. So I never put that connection together because like, oh, well, I wasn't throwing up. Like every once in a while I would throw up just because I would like physically like make myself, like I wouldn't make myself do it, but I would just eat so much that like my body couldn't handle it. But it wasn't like a purge cycle like that, like a traditional bulimic, like what I thought. So I was like, well, I know I don't have an eating disorder because I'm not bulimic, and I didn't even know what binge eating was, right? But I thought about food all day long. I was obsessed with food. And really, there was nothing more that I wanted to do than eat. And nothing was more terrifying to me than eating. I was in just this constant mental battle and strain, and it was really terrifying. And I was taking the time that I could have spent being with my little girl. Like, I would work hard all day, and I would say, well, now I get to spend time with my little girl. And instead of doing that, I would park her in front of a movie, and I would go into the kitchen by myself, and I would eat peanut butter. And the things that I thought about myself because I was doing this were really disturbing for me. And I was planning my whole life around meals. Like, that was my first thought when I got up in the morning, is like, okay, what am I going to eat? What's my plan? What am I going to do? When is the next time that I can eat? What time am I going to eat? When is the last time that I'm going to eat today? Like, everything was just planned around meals and food. I had a desire for the people that I loved to leave the house. Like, I wished that they would all just leave so that I could eat in peace. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you guys are commenting yeah, it sounds like we have a shared experience here. Just, it's like looking forward to being alone to eat. These are people that I would wait all day to be with, and then I wished that they were gone so that I could eat food. Why was I choosing food over the people that I loved the most? Why was food the most important thing in my life? Why was eating the most pleasurable thing that I had in my whole life? And the eating was getting really extreme. So I would just stand up in the kitchen because it never felt okay. I never felt okay about it. I would stand up in the kitchen and I would just eat stuff because the idea of getting all that binge food and sitting down and eating it just seemed like I was accepting it somehow. It never felt acceptable. It always felt so messed up. So I would stand in the kitchen and just sort of walk little circles, and I would be drinking molasses, and I would make a peanut butter sandwich, which felt like a bad food anyway, but I'll just have one. And I would do that over and over and over, 12 peanut butter sandwiches in. And every single time, you guys, I told myself each time, this is the last one. This is the last one. I'm going to have one more sandwich, and that would go on and on and on. And I did that for years. And I had this question one day. Am I going to die a binge eater? I might not have known that term at the time even. But whatever I thought it was then, it was, am I going to live this way for the rest of my life? You guys, thank you so much for your comments. These are just so beautiful that you're sharing your experience here. So, there's a comment, definitely exactly the same experience. Couldn't bear to have my loved ones around if I needed my food fix, thinking I was crazy too. Yeah, you guys, absolutely. I really did think I was crazy. And I was so afraid that I was going to live this way for the rest of my life. So I decided that I had to get help. I was in this place, I had no idea how to fix this, but I was in a place where it didn't matter what it was, I would do it. I had to figure this out. I had to end this. But every solution, and trust me, I was spending hours a day now looking for solutions, videos and blogs and books and research and all of this. Every solution pointed to, well, Lydia, you're broken. Well, Lydia, you're a sugar addict. You're a food addict. You have a disorder. This is the way that you are. This is what people that have your condition do and what they're like. Well, this is how you're going to just have to manage this for the rest of your life. Well, you're just not like other people, so this is the way that you have to do things. And I was like, okay, all right, so I'm different. So I have a disease. So I have a disorder. I don't know how I got it. I'm really mad that I have it, but whatever I need to do, because I cannot live this crazy. So I was like, okay, I'm an addict. I took on that identity. I'm going to manage my life that way. That's just the way that it is. And I approached it that way for a really long time. And you guys, I would have been happy to just live as an addict if things would have gotten better. If I could have just been okay, yes, I'm a food addict, or yes, I have an eating disorder. This is what I need to do. I need to manage my triggers. I need to write lists. I need to do these activities every day. I need to have a routine. It's if I could have done all that, I was willing to do whatever work I needed to do. If I could have done all that and things would have gotten better, I would have been happy to do that for the rest of my life because I thought that was my only answer. But despite knowing all of my 42 triggers, I was still binging. It didn't get better. I am somebody who just personality wise, I'll do it. Like I'll do the work. I was doing all the work and I wasn't seeing results. And I was so, so frustrated. It wasn't even getting better. Like it was just bad. And then I finally found the missing piece. So I had been studying mindfulness and neuroscience principles for a very long time, and I'd used my knowledge in that to overcome fears, to overcome habits, to build successful businesses, to help my relationships. But the book Brain Over Binge by Katherine Hansen, and you've heard me talk about that, actually gave me the missing pieces, and like her story coupled with the things that I had studied, and then her story helped me to realize that I could apply what I had learned to my eating disorder. And I had never thought to do that before because all the conventional wisdom was telling me that I could not be cured. Why would I ever look for a cure to something I couldn't be cured from? And then I read that book and I was like, oh, you can be done with this? Oh, and she had some great principles in there that were aligned with the things that I'd been learning. And then the things that I was learning applied sort of the missing pieces for what I needed and what she was teaching me. And so, through that book and her story gave me hope. And I was done. I was done. And now I'm totally free, you guys. I can say that I do not have an eating disorder anymore. I just don't. I am a normal eater and I never will have an eating disorder. I completely understand what is happening and what was happening so that I can be completely free. And I'm not talking like I'm managing my eating disorder. Like I literally don't have one. Like I go all day, I don't think of food. Food is not a big deal. My hunger and fullness signals are back. It's unpleasant for me to eat once I'm full or approaching full. I can leave things on my plate. I can throw away food. I can what else? See, I don't even it. I have to get back in touch with it because it's so far away now because I'm just done. But it's not just me. How I got better doesn't really matter. I love when we all share our experiences, and I want you to understand my story so that you can maybe have hope from that too. But how I got better doesn't really matter because anyone can tell you how they got better from their eating disorder, but they aren't you, right? So I want to know, how does this work for other people? Is this just, did something click for me and the magic happened and this just works for me? Or does this work for other people? And I was in the amazing situation where I had over 8,000 clients on my team, and so many of them were struggling with their relationship with food. So many people on my team were coming to me oh my gosh, I'm really struggling with my food. Why can't I stick to this diet? Why am I eating more than I've ever eaten before? I've always had a terrible relationship with food. So I had all of these people who were struggling, and I was okay, well, this is how it worked for me. I wonder how this is going to work for other people. And I made it my full commitment to figure out not just how this works for me, but how this works for everyone and anyone. So I started teaching them these principles, and they were getting free. The results were incredible. People who are I've had a messed up relationship with food since I was 5 years old. And then all of a sudden, when I would teach them and coach them through these principles and adjust it for them, then they were done and they were free and finally had a normal relationship with food for the first time in their life. So I was applying how to understand these principles in all sorts of different situations. So what about somebody who's been bulimic for 35 years? And what if somebody has severe food allergies, so their diet has to be restricted in any way? And what if this started as a child, before they can even remember? Or what if they have severe trauma in their past? How does it work for these people, right? So those are all examples, you guys, of real women who I have coached. I didn't just come up with those. I'm just thinking through some women who have graduated from my program in the last little while. And those women are all free. They are all done. So I am completely convinced that anyone can be free from their disordered eating. And I have seen hundreds of women get free now. So it's not just me. We know exactly how these principles work in a whole variety of situations. There's nothing that's going to surprise us. You know what I mean? We know it now. And so it's really about just more people knowing that this is an option. So many people are going to do a Google search today to figure out how to fix their eating disorder or what they can do to get their eating back on track, and they're going to get all of these things pop up for them with the conventional wisdom of like, oh, well, you're broken and you're always going to be broken and this is what you have to do. So just know you can absolutely be free, and we know exactly how to do that. So if you guys want some help to truly just be done with this, I'm so happy that you're part of the community, and there are so many great resources for you. But if you're just really serious about this, if you're just like, you know what, like I'm done and I want to be free, you can actually book a free session. I have a few more spots right now. And you can go to lydiawente.com/apply. And if there are still some openings there, then you can book a call. I believe that on Saturday, there's still a couple more openings. So if you go right now, you might be able to snag one. But I will be doing all the sessions this weekend. Like I try to open up as much time on the calendar to give you these free sessions because I want everybody to have that foundational step to be able to be done with their eating disorders. So we're going to get that foundation solid with that session, and then we can go from there. Either way, like you guys can snag a spot still at lydiawente.com/apply. So glad you're here. So fun to be able to share my story and celebrate with you that I'm totally free now. So yeah, love you guys' comments about just like, oh yay. So the comment says, I still can't believe how simple the principles are. It's completely freed me. I'm so grateful to be a normal eater again. It's incredible. Wow, this is so amazing. Love it, you guys. Yep, you guys are saying great stuff. So I want to be able to have you guys freely post here, but I also want to keep you guys confidential for people who see the video as well. So keep commenting here, and your comments will just be in the group. If you're watching this somewhere else, then you can go ahead and pop into our group to be part of the community, to read the rest of what's here. But I adore you guys. Thank you guys for being here and making this what it is and celebrating. And this is what we do. This is what we do. We get free and we do what we want. So Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Mwah.